Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to Beta Heart of the Swarm action, and this is officially going to be my final Beta Heart of the Swarm game, with the expansion coming out in about 13, 12 days, something like that. I am out of replays officially, and the beta does go down tomorrow, so this will be it. In the meantime, I have a few Wings of Liberty replays that I do want to hit, including a 3-part series. So keep your hands on the wheels for those. Those should be a lot of fun, and we'll be deep into Heart of the Swarm in no time. While we get this match started, though, let's go ahead and introduce those combatants for today. In the bottom right corner is going to be the red Protoss, LieB. And in the bottom left corner is going to be the blue Zerg. I am scrolling north for some reason. The blue Zerg, XoCereal. He has XO twice. I think that's just... I don't know if he wants to be called XoCereal and he's from the XO group, or if he's preferring to be XO's XoCereal, or if he's just cereal. I don't know. I'll probably just call him Cereal. He could be also C-Real, but he's going to be called Cereal. Either way, it should be a good matchup on this Masters level League game, as Cereal and LieB go head-to-head. And as ZVP, I mean, you can't go wrong with that. Hopefully we see some Heart of the Swarm units pop out here. It's a longer game than I've chose to cast most of my Heart of the Swarm games on, so hopefully we're going to get some of those late-game units, such as the Tempest and Vipers. And maybe even some Swarm Hosts, so keep our eyes out for that. I know Zerg tend to see less of the actual new units, and more often we see like Speed Hydras or something. So I'm really hoping to get some of the Swarm units that are brand new out. So who knows? We'll see as that goes along. And as we do that, as we watch these two guys battle it out worker-wise, I guess LieB finally backs off and allows Cereal to take that, as the probe was nearly dead. Only 2 more hits and it would have died. Again, the expansion's only about 12 days away. I hope you guys are excited for that. I know I'm kind of freaking out of my mind right now. I'm really excited to play the campaign. I always loved the Starcraft storylines, all the way back to the original, plus Wings of Liberty, so I'm really excited to play that. If you guys have not checked out either the opening cinematic trailer or the Vengeance trailer, which did just come out 2 days ago, I really recommend you guys go look those up on YouTube. They are amazing, as usual with Blizzard, and reveals some of the plot, at least hints and stuff, that we're going to be seeing coming up in the campaign for Heart of the Swarm. So if you're at all interested in that campaign storyline, if you enjoy that, check those out. Even if you aren't and you just want to see some of your cool units in action, specifically Zerg and Terran, you're not really going to see much Protoss. They're not non-existent, but you're not going to see very much of them. Unfortunately, the major storyline of the whole series up to this point has been Terran and Zerg. Of course, after Heart of the Swarm comes out, we will be waiting on Heart of the Void? No, that's not right. Something of the Void. I'm spacing it now, because it's Heart of the Swarm, so it's not going to be Heart of the Void. That would be a terrible decision there. I'm sure it'll come to me later. Zergling going to break down these rocks. Awfully advanced timing on that. But clearly, Cereal's going to be grabbing a third up here in a little bit. So, not a bad idea to take those few Zerglings while they'd just be sitting around otherwise and knock that rock tower down. And I haven't seen a lot of players taking advantage of those rock towers. It comes in a limited amount of use, which is expected, to be honest. But I still like the option of them existing, being on maps, and it's a cool idea, and hopefully we see that develop more, especially as people start making custom maps and those maps find their ways into larger tournaments. So that'll be something to keep an eye on. Hopefully it will develop and be quite cool. Legacy of the Void. That's the Protoss expansion. So obviously we can't wait for that, especially what units will come and where the story will go. But that's probably another 2 years out. So don't need to freak out about that right now. And of course, many of you may know BlizzCon coming up this year. We will unlikely see anything Starcraft specific other than a nice tournament go on at BlizzCon. It'll probably be World of Warcraft expansion and Diablo 3 expansion at BlizzCon. We could see a Titan reveal, but I doubt that. If anything, I would guess Titan reveal will be 14 BlizzCon, just because there's plenty of stuff to announce this year, and you know, 2 expansions isn't anything small. So, and we may not see that that Diablo announcement. Who knows? But I am gonna go fully into this game now, as we're deep into it. We do have quite a few sentries, moving some Zerglings here. With that Mothership Core though up, and a nice grouping of force fields blocking off most of the Zerglings. Limited losses for LieB. Going to recover quite nicely from that and transition into moving across the map still, I suppose. He was moving out there. He may have been just going for a investigation or, you know, checking out the tower, something like that. He's a little shyer now that those Zerglings kind of surprised him. He wasn't really expecting them to show up there. And the Zergling going to spin around on the map here. And not really sure what they're up to, but they are going to swoop in here and catch those 2 Stalkers pulsed around there. Going to take those Stalkers out quite easily. They're going to back off from that. Minimal losses from the Zergling. Probably 6 or 8 Zergling went down, but 2 Stalkers going down. That is a painful loss for LieB. Quite weakening this army here. At this point, it does not have a lot of juice in it. Obviously, the Mothership Core is still pretty dang crucial. Pretty invincible in the middle of the field right now. Considering there just aren't any anti-air in the middle of the field. However, we do have a Nidus network on the way. We're going to keep a big eye on that. Some nice force fields yet again saving those sentries. Of course, there are now, I guess there's quite a few jammed right there. I thought there were only 2 left. There are still 4 of them kind of jamming themselves into that force field area. I guess there's actually 5. And even more Zergling going to come in here, but they're going to back off. They don't really want to engage this. If they can back up a little bit, this Spine Crawler will, of course, help quite a bit. And for now, going to back off. The Mothership Core going to sit here quite happily. It's going to be safe, really, until that creep works its way up. I mean, obviously, the Queens could take the journey off the creep, but that is going to put him in a dangerous zone. And not knowing where LieB's army is, he doesn't want to engage in something like that and lose those Queens. They're valuable to him for sure at the moment. And, ooh, I saw Swarm Hosts. Hot diggity dog, we got Swarm Hosts on the field, and those guys are going to be a good eye to watch. And just talking more about Heart of the Swarm, you know, it's coming up. I've been really curious, and I mean, oh, there's the Nidus Worm coming up. We'll see if LieB finds it, and ooh, his army is avoiding it at the moment. We'll keep an eye on that worm for sure. As Heart of the Swarm, of course, comes up, though, what I've been really curious about is, as we're going to be playing the Zerg, are we going to get the Swarm Host and the Viper both in the campaign? I'm expecting we are, simply because the Zerg units really haven't changed. So ultimately, the question becomes, in the campaign, are Ultralisks going to have that charge? The Mothership Core went in for a little harass there, not able to do too much, going to back off. Because as you know, Ultralisks were supposed to have an Ultralisk charge here in the expansion. Well, that has been removed for balance purposes and just isn't in existence anymore. So the question becomes, is that in the campaign? I really, really hope it is. I love the charge. I'm missing it in regular play, in multiplayer rather. And we'll hopefully see that come back. A little bit of Locust harass going on here. XoCereal just kind of making a little forward base for himself. Now with 4 Swarm Hosts on there, 3 more on the way. I would suspect there's more than that on the field. In fact, there are 3 in the Nidus network right now. So he's going to be sitting on 10 Swarm Hosts, and that is quite significant. When you have 20 of the Locusts coming out and just barraging a base repeatedly, that becomes considerably dangerous. I mean, obviously those guys die pretty quick, but they're free. I mean, you keep your Swarm Hosts hidden. And with Enduring Locust on the way, which extends the life of those Locusts by 10 seconds, makes them even deadlier, because that does not increase the delay it takes to actually spawn the Locust, thus making there just be Locusts more often on the field. In fact, I think, yeah, with the upgrade, they take 25 seconds, they last 25 seconds, and I believe they take 25 seconds to spawn. So it makes continuous locusts on the field, which is pretty dangerous. I mean, at that point, your opponent has to kill the locust to make a move, or specifically move in and target fire the swarm host. So these locusts, especially in big numbers, become a serious issue. And actually, ooh, a nice little engagement going on here. Of course, a lot of these locusts is doing very nice damage to that Protoss army. It is forced to pull back. It does not want to throw units away to those free locusts. Again, I was going to comment, I've been looking up a lot of Heart of the Swarm stuff lately, and I found some image files that suggest the alternate evolutions in the campaign for some of the units. As we know, we have like Raptorlings and Swarmlings coming for the Zergling options, as you had all the Terran options of different types of units in the expansion, or in the Wings of Liberty. Here we got a big engagement coming in. There's got to be an ob somewhere on the field as those swarm hosts are getting hit. Quite a few locusts in there. Most of the Lings trapped behind a massive amount of force fields. They are going to run around, though, and now have the flank. The Void Rays really trying to do what they can. Queen's trying to get at them, and starting to do some nice damage with the Void Rays. And some defensive shielding coming down as the Protoss army is starting to have to be very careful, as they're just getting overrun by all these locusts constantly on the field unless they kill them off, and just forced to retreat from that massive locust. Anyways, so I'm looking at the alternate photos of evolutions, and I saw one with green swarm hosts, which could mean like Baneling locusts, which I thought was kind of a cool idea. That's just my theory. But the other one I saw, instead of the little egg sacs on the swarm host, it's a bunch of spikes. And to me, that screams lurker swarm host. And even if it's just in the campaign, if they have done that, I'm gonna freak a little bit, because good lord, I miss those swarm hosts. Look at this Colossi just going nuts on these locusts. Obviously doing a lot of damage to them, but they're free, and they are whittling that guy down. I mean, he took hull damage for no cost to XoCereal. XoCereal is just starting to urinate all over LieB's base, just not costing him anything, but doing massive damage, taking out critical structures, Robo Bay, and I mean all kinds of stuff. Obviously that forge went down, and now this natural is even starting to be, well, I guess it hasn't been attacked yet, but it will be soon enough if he keeps this up. Although the swarm hosts have retreated. They have retreated into that guy, or into the network, and now they are all up here, and these locusts are going to cause some issues for this invading army. Is there an obs or any detecting unit for LieB around here? And I don't see one. And again, that's going to cause him issues. He can't contend here without detection. If LieB expects to win this game without his detection, he is not going to... He's going to have a real bad day. And we now have Ultralisks on the way as well. Some more Oracles coming out. That is not what I meant to click. Where? All right. Where's that? Let's try that again. Go up here. Oracle. There we go. That was a weird goof. Obviously, some Oracles coming out. Zerglings now moving into the natural as well. Starting to take out quite a few of the drone probes. And starting to look bad for him. LieB continually trying to pressure on the front here, but the Locust just continually pushing him out. He did kill off quite a few there, though. Finally doing some nice damage. And it looks like the Oracles using their detectability, I would guess. I don't see the Oracle. Maybe it got killed off. Can Locusts attack air? Targets ground, so no, they can't attack air. I believe at one point they could, which made them a considerably ridiculous threat. And so a very curious army here, and it looks like XoCereal is going to finally lose this Nidus Worm. I don't see it standing up to attack here. LieB should throw an Envision down here, and looks like he did, wiping out those Swarm hosts very easily, as well as the Nidus Worm. Ooh, nice little creep bump there from the Nidus network. That was cool. I hadn't seen that before. And all that creep should recede, and finally just kind of pushing LieB finally pushing XoCereal back. But a force coming in from XoCereal that is pretty scary. A lot of Swarm hosts, even got some Collector's Edition Ultralisk in here. Just one for now. Hopefully we'll see some more of those guys. I love this Ultralisk skin. Bloody brilliant, if you ask me. And again, LieB taking that north route, allowing him to evade a lot of XoCereal stuff down south. And I am amazed we just haven't got into a base race here yet. The way these two guys have been moving back and forth on the map, it seems that we would have hit a base race at some point, but we just have not managed to do that just yet. And oh, the Zergling just walked right over, not even a forethought. Gonna move right in here. This base is gonna be easily wiped out. Again, XoCereal trying to make his move, but unfortunately his whole army out of place right now, losing units left and right, going after that Ultralisk. Not gonna get him today, but oh my gosh, he's down to about 25 hit points. Still regenerating, obviously. And that Nidus Worm has popped, and Bob's sitting right over it. He's gonna actually load up and come home with that army, and he's gonna need them. Overlords and everything going down left and right for XoCereal. Possibly gonna lose his natural here. Locust coming down the ramp, obviously getting burned up very easily. An Envision coming down, he's gonna start clearing out the Swarm Host here. Quite a few Lings moving in, backing up there, and Ultra is gonna help out as well if he can get into the fray. A force field quickly squished by that Ultralisk. Barely even saw it there. The Ultralisk is gonna get in there and start slicing and dicing, as the Lings are too. A nice surround going on, but there's so many Protoss units here still. Another Ultralisk coming in, and slowly this Protoss army getting whittled away. The Stalkers are all but gone now. Only one left now, all kind of corpse falling down that cliff. Very cool. And now it is just the Protoss Air Force left here, trying to do the damage. They should be able to take out that natural, no concern. That does go down. Did the Mothership Core leave? Yes, it left. It did not go down. 2 Void Rays remaining, and I believe they're going to retreat at this point. Taking the losses for what they are and getting home. Definitely has enough energy to recall. I would advise that since he's full on energy, you might as well use it. Although I think units can die while being recalled, so they were so low it needed to be a running time, not a recall time. So ultimately an extremely successful attack by LieB. And now these Swarm Hosts over here getting lifted by Phoenixes, getting shot by the Void Rays, and suddenly a lot of units dying over here. And the Locusts are taking up most of their life running towards this base, trying to do any real damage. They have been whittling away at this Nexus. I guess they haven't. Something has. But this Ultralisk is going to run in here and pretty much throw his life away. That is a very unfortunate click by XoCereal. I don't know if he meant to do that. I can't imagine he did. It just died for no apparent reason at all. And LieB just easily cleaned this up. I mean, that is a huge mistake by XoCereal. I have no idea what he was thinking there. But we are seeing a tech swap out of XoCereal at this time. Going to switch up to Hydralisks, which could be a good switch at this time. However, he's going to need to back those Hydralisks up with something tanky like Roaches or something. And I don't see him producing anything like that at the moment. You always need more beefy units to back up those Hydralisks, as they may be faster these days, but they are still pretty weak. And they get dead really quick. And if LieB puts out any Colossus, that's really going to be a concern for those Hydralisks. So, LieB now going to spin up top again. Not quite as high. Not really feeling a threat anymore. And I'm going to move in here. And lots of Lings and Hydralisks. That is a very squishy army. Don't get me wrong. It can do a lot of damage. And very well is probably going to win this engagement. The Zealots obviously coming in, dealing a lot of damage. And there proves the squishiness of that Zerg army. But the DPS wins out and going to force that Protoss army to back off. Did I see 4 obs in there? I guess 3 obs. That is a lot of observers. But there you just saw the sheer squishiness of that Zerg army. Unfortunately, for the Protoss, his army just wasn't big enough, and that massive DPS just won out there. So Zergling Hydralisk isn't terrible, but obviously Roach Hydralisk is preferred. And a Swarm Host Hydralisk isn't something I've seen before, so I'm quite curious as to how this is going to work. We do not have Hydralisk speed, unfortunately. I would really like to see that, considering it is a Heart of the Swarm match. Obviously, it wouldn't be in Wings of Liberty, so we couldn't see it. But since I'm casting a Heart of the Swarm match, I would like to see Hydralisk with speed, since that is the only reason they're an ultra... That is the only reason there are Heart of the Swarm units. So, a few Locusts going to run up the ramp here. Not going to do much damage. They're going to whittle away at this, probably. Maybe a few probes. They're going to shatter here in about 3, 2, 1, splatter. So, not really getting much done. However, it does mean that XoCereal is knocking at LieB's door and making things a little dangerous for him. And XoCereal, dealing with a few Zealot Warp-ins here, probably happening from one of these proxy pylons up here. Looks like that probe must have... Has he been long-ranging for a long time? Or is he actually... He has been long-range mining for like 10, 20 minutes. That is impressive. That is very, very impressive. Anyways, XoCereal establishing a few new bases, and in the meantime, LieB's third is going to be going down here if he does not defend it to any scale. And unfortunately, this tiny army isn't going to be able to deal with the oppressive army that XoCereal has constructed, and it is impressive. Those Swarm Hosts are really what's won him the day here so far. Colossus is up there too squishy to be left up front. No Zealots or anything like that to really defend them. And in that situation, the Hydralisk is going to move in, start trying to snipe him off. And a huge engagement going down here. Unfortunately for LieB, just not enough troops, I don't feel. However, he is doing a lot of damage with those Colossus. One, unfortunately, does go down. A few Stalkers left. The Colossus is going to need to get to the high... Oh, it is sniped off before it gets to the high ground. Only a few Stalkers left, and that is a GG from LieB. Just not able to hold off the relentless attack of XoCereal, and really what it came down to was these Swarm Hosts. Swarm Hosts killed so many units here with their free Locusts, and that's really what it comes down to. These Swarm Hosts have been giving a lot of people trouble. They just don't know how to deal with those Locusts that just keep coming out. And in time, something will be developed, but for now, they are an issue. Anyways, guys, I want to thank you for tuning in. I want to thank you for following me through the whole Heart of the Swarm beta. As I said, this is my final beta cast of Heart of the Swarm, so the next time you see anything Heart of the Swarm from me will be from the live game. So about 12 days out, so I hope you guys tune in then. I hope you have fun with the expansion when it does come out. Please do thumbs up and subscribe so I can bring you more StarCraft 2 content, more Heart of the Swarm content when, of course, that is released. And until then, guys, I hope you have fun. I hope you're excited, and I'll see you on the other side.